IEC Vice Chairperson Tselane says the election body is ready for the upcoming local government elections. He was speaking at the signing of the Electoral Code of Conduct in East London. 42 political parties will contest the elections in the province. Tselane has also urged political parties to tolerate each other during this time. Our reporter Busisiwe Jemsana spoke to the IEC Vice Chairperson.
Good day and welcome to East London, where political parties have just signed the code of conduct expected from them leading up to the August 3rd local government elections. All of them promising to help the IEC carry out its work to make sure that these elections are free and fair. We know that 42 political parties will be contesting elections here in the Eastern Cape, and 188 independents have registered to contest elections. But to tell us more on what is expected and what will be the guidelines leading up to the elections, we are joined by the Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, Mr. Tselane. You mentioned 4 things whilst you were speaking inside that you regard as crucial leading up to these elections. What are those?
I believe that the quality and the character of the elections is dependent on 4 factors. One is the quality of our electoral staff. It is important that we appoint people firstly with integrity, but people who can be able to understand the electoral system, the law, and then how we are operating as an organization. So training of our electoral staff and recruitment is important. So it is one of the most important aspects that determine the quality and character of the election. The second one is the quality of logistics. Quality of logistics obviously entails having to make sure that the material for the elections arrive at the right places, in the right amount, at the right time. So this is some of the things that we are emphasizing to make sure that, for instance, if the ballot papers have got to reach a voting station, it must be the correct material that reaches that voting station. You must not find a situation where the ward candidate for a particular ward, for ward number 1, their names are in the ballot paper of ward 55. It is important that we make sure that we stick to the detail. We make sure that all these kind of things do not happen. So the logistics becomes one of the most important elements that determine the quality and the character of the elections. The third is the quality of the voters' roll. We have been in court now, the Constitutional Court, where we went to seek clarity in relation to some of the matters that were raised by the Electoral Court. And now the judgment is out. But what has actually happened is that certain things have been identified by the Constitutional Court as well as the Electoral Court as errors in our voters' roll. It is important that we correct all the defects in the voters' roll to make sure that we have a document that is credible, that can be usable for the purpose of the elections. The fourth and the most important is also the political environment and the legal environment within which we are operating. But the political environment, unfortunately, it is not something that the Electoral Commission on its own is solely responsible for. We've got to work with quite a number of partners, but the political parties are the most important in that regard. We therefore urge the political parties to assist us in terms of ensuring that we have an environment conducive to free and fair elections. So this is one of the most important aspects related to the political environment. You may be aware that we've had quite a number of areas where we have experienced pockets of instability. In some of the areas, there have been killings. It is important that we arrest the situation before it gets out of hand. It is important that when we get to the elections, we know that the values that drive our constitution are entrenched in the whole process, because that will then have an impact in terms of the integrity of the elections.
Mr. Tselane, thank you so much for your time. That was the Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of South Africa, Mr. Tselane, telling us about the 4 crucial things that will be important leading up to the local government elections. While we were inside, the Provincial Commission also said they were ready logistically to carry out these elections, also emphasizing on the importance of political parties and stakeholders playing a role in making sure that there is calm and stability in all the areas. From us here in East London, it's back to you in studio.